All right. Welcome to the live stream. I'm going to just go a little rambling while I wait for people to show up. This past Saturday, I was out at Hillside in Elk River, and there's a video out for it. Went on the channel on Sunday afternoon. And I got to say, I was really impressed with all the changes I saw at Hillside. My history of Hillside is I went back and rode, I think I first rode Hillside in maybe 2014. So, and I've been going back probably like once a year, or twice a year, depending on how many times. I mean, a few times each year, go out to Hillside and ride. And the first time I went out there was before the reroutes, before any of the work was done. And that trail was freaking hard. Just a mess of a trail. A lot of sandy corners, a lot of erosion, a lot of fall line stuff, and a bit of a zoo, a bit of, or not a zoo, I should say, a maze. I got so lost at Hillside, it was unreal. I couldn't figure out how to get around that place. It was no good. It didn't work out for me very well. I ended up having a pretty rough day, but I came back and I rode it again. And I brought the GoPro out and I did a video out there. And there was still, this was still pretty early on in my riding. Uh, it was still pretty early on in my riding season or abilities. So to go out there and ride that thing and have it go pretty well, or go okay, I was happy. There were a couple of different technical features. I definitely doing a while walking out there. There are a lot of stuff out there that I was just like way too afraid to even try to ride. I remember there used to be a rock garden that you kind of like, I think it was like a double black and a black option. The double black was this like step down thing, and the black was this rock garden that you basically, it was all river rocks, and you went down and then you had to make a right. Yeah, Hillside is a lot of fun. I mean, the new stuff is really good. How's it going, Swampy Sense? Do I sound okay? Everything looks okay? Just give me a heads up. I'm gonna just, hopefully audio is all good. Just realized that is kind of sliding down. So hopefully it's all sounds good. Um, Hillside, that park there. There's a lot of drama with that park, with the people who used to ride out there and maintain that place because they was not Mork Trail, and it was a place that not many people went and rode. It was really hard. Um, I thought, it seemed to me like it was like all these little downhills into these sandy corners. I used to always think it was a great place to ride right after it rained. So if it rained, it was perfect. But otherwise, if it got dusty and dry, it wouldn't be that great. So, Swampy, have you been out to Hillside? Have you gone out and ridden it since the remodel? Yeah, I remember when they did the remodel and they did the rebuild, and they opened it up at sections, and it was like, okay, gotta kind of get a feel for what was going out there, what get a feel for what the trail, like what they were trying to do, and you could see right away. Yeah, you could see right away that it was originally like really. It felt almost like they tried to do like a flow trail. It was a lot of ups and downs, these little bumps and rollers. So lots of rollers, lots of berms. It kind of reminded me a little bit of at the top of Glenwood before you hit the big berms and you go down to the street. There's that section where there's a few rollers back and forth because it was all the train just didn't support really in section, at least section 1 and 2, doesn't really support any fast descents. So they tried to overcome that. They threw all these different rollers into the trails, and it just wasn't, it wasn't that great. So I'm glad that they went out there and started adding some things. And I think it was in 20. I think it might have been in I think the remodel started in 2017, and I think it was done in 2018. And then I think 2019 is when they started adding some features. So I think that's when in 2019 I think they started adding those drops, and it first started out just being those three ladder drops. You had the real big. There's a real big ladder drop on section one, which is that first part of the video. It's the you've got the ladder drop. You've got two trees, and then you go through the trees, and then there's about like a 1 foot, 2 foot drop. You go through, and then you've got that bridge, and that ladder drop. It's probably like 3 feet, and if you're going really fast, you can easily go 4 feet, 5 feet, because it is a descent after that drop. So you can get a lot of speed after that. I remember I rode it and I almost hit I almost hit that tree on the right my first time. I could jar myself out of the way. That's on video. That's out there on from going out looking for drops video. I think from 2019. And then they also added this two different ladder drops in section four. And I don't think many people ride section four. I was kind of feeling for watching people as they're riding. It seemed like a lot of people would ride section one, two, and three, and then skip four. And four is actually four is where the elevation is. That's where you're going to do your climbing. But that's also where you're going to get your faster descents. So section four is pretty solid. I think I'm surprised more people don't ride that. I was surprised to see some people just skipping that and riding the road back. But you know, it's a cool trail, and from last time I was there, they definitely have pulled in a ton of rocks. I actually thought that I heard that they were getting a bunch of rocks, but I thought they were going to Bertram. I didn't realize all those rocks were probably going to Hillside, because you had a lot of the jumps that kind of faded away. It looked like they put some big slab rocks on to help armor the lips, so you can kind of get more. Probably for people like me dragging the brakes on those things, but you can get a little bit a better kick from a couple of those tables. And they threw in a rock garden, and they added though a couple different spots where there's just some rock armoring, which is pretty good. So yeah, I Swampy, where do you typically ride? I'm I'm not sure. That's not what I want to do. Hey, Michael. Those rollers start if you know getting rolled down. That's the problem. I think that was kind of the idea, is that to make those sort of like an erosion thing, and then have the berms in there. But from what I was hearing is that those rollers were just getting chewed away. They weren't surviving, and I think that's why they threw those rocks on there. Hey, how's it going, Workhorse? But yeah, how many people we got in here tonight? Yeah, well, Bertram is pretty cool. Bertram's got a lot of good stuff out there, and actually, a lot of the guys. I think the guy who does a lot of stuff at Bertram also does a fair amount of stuff at Hillside. When Mork took over that group, that trail, I think a lot of that kind of merged over, and they took over that piece of it. So I think that made a difference, and you've got people in there, and so I think you'll see that there's some similar features, and some of the wood. I think a lot of the woodwork that was done at uh, Hillside was also done by the guy who did the Huck Harbor and the Loch Ness Monster and those other two wood features out there. So I think that's part of it. Yeah, that I would, if you're near Bertram, that's probably it's Hillside's probably not that far away. I know for me to go out to, I think Bertram is not, it's close to an hour, I think, drive for me, even for him. Hey, how's it going, Harry? So I think that's in Hillside. I think is like 35 minutes. It's just you just go. It's up 101 basically. Yeah, I section four. I know people don't. I like section four. I mean, that's to me that's where you got a nice climb. You got a couple fast sections in there, and I think you should give it a little bit more of a shot. Yeah, that's I could see that with three. Where you can just kind of loop that and do that section a few more times and just session that because that is pretty cool. That wood feature they built there is pretty awesome. I really like that. It's kind of funny because when I saw that, the thing I thought of was that wood feature that used to be on Eagle Eye at Welch Village. That had a like that you kind of like you ramp, you go up and then you kind of can launch off of. But this has a little bit because there's a couple like it's one, two, three. You can get a little bit more speed. It's actually narrower than the one at Welch, and a bunch of those guys. Hey Travis, how's it going? I appreciate that with the 4.99 super chats. Let's take. Let's see what he says here. Isn't that you should get 3 points? I'm gonna tell you that's hitting that drop and going through the trees. It's a field goal. It really is. I know that, and that's the thing is you got to take a little slower than you would think. Because I remember that last time when I went through it the first time, I thought I had to go really fast, and what happens you send it farther and you hit the more into flats, and you just kind of you have less time to maneuver around those trees. You got to take it a little bit slower than you think. But I'm sure you'd be all good. You'd handle it. So flight school that's the like wood gravity drop that sends to a jump. That's pretty cool. That is I'm gonna tell you 100% that's between your ears. That one I really think flight school is not that bad. Um, yeah, yeah. My thing about so here's the thing with the Loch Ness monster, and this is where I think, honestly, going to Hillside and working on the drops is perfect practice for the Loch Ness because the drops at Hillside are going to give you an idea of how fast you got to go through those drops. The thing with drops is speed, and it's not going too you as knowing not going too fast, but also not going too slow. Any of you guys are on the Facebook? If you saw that YouTube on the Minnesota Mountain Bikers Facebook, you probably saw that video of that kid who did a face plant off of Huck Harbor like last weekend, or maybe last weekend or weekend before. But the kid went and classic front wheel just dropped and he went right over. And yeah, Michael Locke, yes. That's awesome that he's gonna be building some stuff in Grizzland because I that a lot of stuff in Grizzland is just old. It's just old. There's no two ways about it. It's like it's all falling apart. And it's like it's more sketchy because it's old and rotten than anything else. But to get back to like talking about doing drops, it really is getting comfortable with the speed and how fast you need to go. The Joy of Bike has a video on. They have 3 videos on drops, and they're all really good. and really good explanation. A lot better than anything I can do for like talking about how to hit drops and get used to it. But I can tell you what I did to get used to hitting some of these drops before I hit Harbor, and especially on that side of town, especially on this side of town, I would say. I would start out with really driving up to the hillside. You've got two ladder drops in section 4. I'd hold off on the drop in section 1. You can take a look at it, and in my opinion, that thing is just as difficult as Huck Harbor at Hillside. It's just you know what? I think it's probably got a little bit better run in so you can keep your speed, but it's a narrower drop, narrower ladder bridge. You don't have this big bridge. And actually, the thing I don't like about Huck Harbor is I feel like every time I've gone off it, I'm always kind of sucked into the inside and jumping off too far on the inside. I wish there was like a dot in the middle of that takeoff so you can kind of aim that. And the idea I think that jump is to be more of like a wall jump, because when if you're going fast enough, you're gonna land straight and you're gonna be fine. But that's not a smooth jump either, or drop, I should say, at Huck Harbor. But you can get used to smaller drops at Hillside. There's another drop at Elm Creek that's a pretty good warm up as well. There's a wood drop that is kind of hidden away in the prairies on the way back. That's a good spot to hit. Yeah, Harry, I think I'd be curious to go out there with you and just and ride that, because the thing about Loch Ness is speed. Is you've got to carry your speed through that berm, and I think that wood berm you got to pedal through it. You can't just coast through that corner, and that's you have that drop. The top of Loch Ness. You've got a bit of a roll down. You've got to keep speed going through that corner, and I think a lot of people lose speed in that corner. And there's a thing out there. I think it's like if you're not going at least 8 miles per hour when you're pedaling, your wheel is automatically gonna just drop. Other than that, you got to jump it. You got to hop it at the end to not if you're going that slow. But yeah, yeah. Flight school, you can if you go fast. The landings, okay. I think it's Michael Locke. He can build some really cool wood features. His landings all suck. They all suck at Bertram. It's not bad. I mean, they're just not. When you go and you hit drops and you hit and you get air other places where the landing is really smooth and it's the right angle. It's crazy how nice that feels. Game Haven has a ladder drop type thing that is probably just as big as Huck Harbor from a drop perspective. And that thing is so crazy smooth. It is just like you go off and you land and it's butter. You're just rolling. There's no jarring motion. It's just you're rolling and you're fine. And it's just a really good landing. It's really well built. The grade is just perfect. And there's other places that it's like that, where the grade is just right. It's going to be a smooth landing, and you're just going to keep going. You're not going to have this jerky motion. I kind of feel like the landing at Huck Harbor is a little bit flat. You have, so the thing is, like, if you go too slow, you're going to go front wheel over the top and flip. And if you go too fast, you're hucking the flat basically. So it's kind of it's not a great landing, and I think the same kind of thing is with the flight deck. Is I think if you get a little air, it's kind of a wonky landing. It's just a little flat. There's not a good built up landing for that one. And yeah, my. It's good stuff, but it's fun to have those types of features, and it's great to have something like that. I think that they still could use a little bit of work, but yeah, no, I remember going to Hawk Harbor the first time, or Bertram the first time, and for a long time it took me a while to figure out where it was at Bertram, because I never went. I think it's west out of the parking lot. I never didn't even know there was trail that direction. I always went through the main gates and did that loop, and just never, I could never find it. You know, I could find the Loch Ness and the roller coaster and that, but I could never find Huck Harbor. And then I finally did. I was like, whoa. I looked at it and I wasn't sure. And then I finally did it in 2019. I think it was 2019. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2019 video. And it scared me, but I did it. I did it a couple times that day. But yeah, it's you know, I think it's one of those things where you got pedal into that drop, which is kind of what's kind of it's not just a coast in. You really got to pedal in and have some speed going around that corner. So I just think the wood burns it kind of slows you down. So you got to pedal into it. See, like Loch Ness, like that thing actually, Loch Ness is scares the heck out of me. Still to this day, just because, I'll tell you, I always sit when I go on Loch Ness. So if you haven't been, I know a couple of you guys haven't done Loch Ness, but Loch Ness is it's like 3 feet off the ground, skinny, and it's not super skinny, but it's a skinny, and it's got it's a little bit of a snake like turns to it, and then you have a ladder at drop at the bottom. You go too fast on a ladder, you can take it as a drop too. I've done that. It's kind of fun. But that was one of those things where like the fact that it drops at the bottom, the tier at the bottom, that doesn't worry me. But anything above ground, and where I'm more than like 2 feet off the ground and it's a narrow platform, my heart's gonna race. I'm just to be honest, like the going back to Bertram, the things I'm scared of there are not Huck Harbor. They're not the other stuff like that. Christ, it's that two platform skinny that is right after that little rock garden play area. That thing just like is I'm you know that thing gets my blood boiling or my nerves shot, and that the skinny with the wood posts where it goes up and down. I'm just like anything like once you get 2 feet in the ground and it's like, oh, and it's got a little bit of turn. That it just those are the things that scare me at Bertram. Yeah, like yeah, the 2 tier. Yeah, hey Sean, that 2 tier skinny. That is that's a scary thing for me. Yes, I've done. I did that. I think it took me like 3 or 4 tries, and I finally was able to do it a few years back. But I fell off that thing a couple times, and you know, I had a bad fall on a skinny a couple times in my career on the bike, and I've it's not been a very that's doing stupid stuff like that is what gets me hurt is most of the time. My fingers are in horrible shape because I will automatically put a hand down and whenever I fall off something like that and not think about trying to roll and just be an idiot. What else we got here? I don't know what. So the one that rolls into a drop that's after Loch Ness, I just call that the roller coaster thing. I don't know what that. I know that one's got a name. I don't know what that one is called. Yeah, I'm very thankful I've never fallen off Monty Python, but it's probably been pretty close. But I'm I am like at full attention on that feature. And that's, swampy Loch Ness. Yeah, that's. I always say that the difference between certain trails, I think, is that when you do get, I like having trails that make me a little bit scared and have features that make me have to pay attention while I'm riding. And there are features and there are spots like here and there, and that's nice to have. I appreciate that. And although I will say that I think there are there's still stuff at Hillside that I haven't, like, I still have not done that big teeter totter they have there. I've seen people take that big teeter, and you gotta get pretty high off the air or off the ground before that teeter actually drops. And that it's just like, no thanks. And that skinny at Murphy, I probably could do that skinny at Murphy. I probably should have done that skinny at Murphy when I was there with Travis and Chris, but I wasn't there yet. My skinnies, I was still a little. I wasn't happy with how I was riding skinnies at that time. I feel like I could probably do it now, but man, that was a rough one. That skinny is tough. Yeah, I know. I should have, Travis. I should have done that, but it would have been good because you guys would have been there. You probably wouldn't have caught me. You probably just would have videotaped it. But I could have. It would have been. At least there's somebody there. That's the other thing is, like, I don't. I tend to ride by myself a lot. So I don't have. So when I get to things that kind of scare me like that, I'm not that. Uh, not that interested in doing it by myself in case I fall and get hurt. But it would have been YouTube gold. It definitely would have. I agree. Sean, that one I've never had any problems with it. I just go real slow, and then I speed up at the end. And I when I do skinnies, I tend to sit on the saddle. If you guys will watch Yuka Vangirl, she did a video a few years back about talking about how she does skinnies, and she sits on the saddle while she pedals her skinnies. And I still do to this day. I basically sit on the saddle while I pedal. I know in theory I should have more balance when I'm standing and in the attack position, but for me I think just it's just easier for me to feel comfortable on the bike sitting down while I go on skates. So I thought the Loch Ness is the twisty one, and the roller coaster thing is the roller coaster. I I don't know. Maybe I have the names wrong. I in just how I know how they are. What I call them at least. But uh, let's see. Yeah. Um. Let's see. So Mountain View Park. That's the thing that. So I have not ridden that skill park in Monticello. I need to get out there and ride that. Yeah, I've heard. So the guys who used to were the original crew in charge of Hillside, they set that up. They went and built that challenge park, and it's one of those things where I need to go. It's one of those. I probably should. I'm wondering, is that something to do? Is it small enough that you can do that before you go and ride Bertram, or would you recommend doing it after your ride? Because my it was always ends up happening is I'll get up early and I'll go ride Bertram, and I'll end up doing like the lap there and doing the stuff, and then by the time I'm done, I'm like, oh, I don't really feel like going and riding anymore, so I end up going home and not doing that that Montague Park. But I should probably hit that first and give it a shot. Okay, because it's only 2 miles. Yes, so it's pretty short. I should do that. I should go ride that first and play around and just. But it's tough for me to go out and like just go out and hit that thing. And I'm not sure how much of a. I have seen that. So for anyone who hasn't seen any videos of the Mountain Park, there is like a huge rock garden thing on the top of this hill, and it looks like I don't know where they got the rocks because it looks like it those like a bunch of huge rocks you would expect to find like in the Rocky Mountains. They're just big, huge, you know, blocky rocks that it's a climbing. Basically, that place is all climbing challenge from my understanding. So it's something to check out. It's something I definitely want to take a look at and see how that rides. But yeah, only 2 miles. That's not too bad though. That's if it did that after a ride, that probably wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, but no. So Kenya, okay. So I have a question for you guys. Where are you going to go ride this weekend? Have you figured out where you're riding this weekend? I think it's going to be pretty nice. When they were showing the weather, I was expecting to see that we would probably get rained out this weekend, but it looks like we're going to be good to go. It's going to dry up, and now they're saying next weekend is going to be a rain out, which I think is like okay. I think the weather guys just predict rain in the next 7 days, and it happens. It happens. Yeah, that's one thing I've learned about rock gardens in general. Is just to keep pedaling. For the most part, you're not going to pedal strike a lot of those places. You just got to keep the momentum going. If you keep the momentum going, you can clear them. But they can be kind of that's an intimidating thing is to actually pedal through a rock garden. It doesn't always work that way. You get in your head you're gonna it's not you shouldn't do that. You should kind of pump through it but a lot of times you just got to pedal through them. So I think all I know I'm gonna I got plans to ride tomorrow morning. I'm gonna get up early and head over to Theodorworth and do a lap there. I have not done a couple. I've only ridden. I think I have been over there twice, but I'm gonna try and get an early morning, couple of laps out at Theodorworth in the morning tomorrow. But then I'm gonna take the car and get up early, and I am gonna head up to Cuyuna. So I've got a couple trails I want to check out. I don't know. Actually, I haven't even looked. I'm assuming that Cruiser is open. I know there's some construction up there, so I got to figure out what the construction. Excuse me. I got to figure out what the construction looks like around the cities. I I'm gonna do a ride on. I want to check out draw points. I want to take a look at it, have an opinion on it, give it a ride. I've watched a ton of videos on it. Watched a ton of bad videos on it. Um, One good video so far, I think, on it. But for the most part, a lot of bad stuff out there. So I'm kind of curious to see what it is, see how it rides. Um, then I might go out and hit Winds or Windsy or whatever the hell they call it. I'm gonna hit that trail, do that a couple times, see if I can get the DNR to yell at me for sessioning it because I think I've been told that you're not supposed to session that trail. But I'm gonna go try that out, and I'm gonna try out Cuyuna Cruiser and see if I see how that goes. I I was tempted to do like a huge ride out there, but I think I'm just gonna drive from parking lot to parking lot and avoid the middle section of Cuyuna. And Cruiser is still closed. Okay, that's a bummer because I've been kind of sitting around waiting for Cruiser to open up before I head up there. But I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna. I want to get a ride out on draw point and on winds, and maybe hit some of the skills park. But I want to check some. I want to check out some of the stuff they've done out there and just have an opinion on, an educated opinion on some of the stuff that they've been building out there. Um, but and probably do a video for that, but that video wouldn't probably come out till the following weekend, like the third, close to 30th, I think, somewhere around there. Figure I'll do a big Cuyuna video right before the Memorial Day weekend when everyone heads up there. Lots of people watching that stuff. And I'll just, of course, piss people off and just see how it goes. It'll be fun. Yeah, that's a bummer about the about that. I want to, I haven't ridden that one or and taken a look at Cruiser. Um, I'm curious to see what happens. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I wasn't expecting them to like be like, oh, we're just gonna let this one go natural. Um, what they should do is figure out where those water problems are and build wood and put rocks and build wood over and wood features over it. But we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see. I don't want to go out there and get in trouble and ride something that's not open. But I'm curious. I'd love to be able to look at it and see what's maybe just walk that thing and see what it looks like. But I don't know because I know I'll give you a little proof. I've been thinking a lot about. Um, I think Cuyuna is like early on in your riding career, and I think it is a great place to go ride. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun trails there. There is just not enough of to make it. There's other places that I find more interesting that I want to check out, and there's other places I just haven't been to. So like to go out and ride there. Um, I'm giving up going somewhere else. Basically, is the way I look at it. So I'm like giving up, saying, "Oh, I only have so many weekends in the year I can go ride these places, and if I'm going up to that Cuna, that's 1 week I can't go to. I'm not going up to Hickson, or I'm not going up to Redhead, or I'm not going out to Tioga, or I'm not going out to the Jackpots, or riding more of the stuff up in Duluth I haven't ridden yet. So there's a lot of stuff. It's tough. Levis. I didn't go to Levis last year. I didn't go to Wisconsin last year. I was like not crossing the border. I know, and there's stuff at Levis that I haven't. I haven't. They've been building stuff out there, so I'm kind of curious to see what that looks like. And Levis is fun. Levis. So I'll say Levis Mountains is where that is a perfect place to go. Uh, it's I don't remember the weekend, and early September, late August. Even late August, it might be a little too sweaty. Yeah, Levis is great. Levis is, you know, I think that Levis is really old school single track. There is, and it's not as smooth down, but it's not like super hard stuff either. It's just solid blue types, blue square trails, and it's a beautiful area. I mean, yeah, you kind of want to go there before the leaves turn. Um, when I was there the first time, I think I went a little bit too early in the summer, and it was a little bit wet. It gets real sandy there, so it was a little rough, and it was super humid. I mean, you are in the Wisconsin woods. I mean, the humidity is just dripping. So it's a tough place to go during the middle of the summer. It's a better place to ride in early spring, uh, late summer, fall. The colors are going to be incredible in the fall. And it's only like 2.5 hour drive from here. You basically go to Black River Falls and then head inland. So it's a little bit past Clare. So it's not too horrible of a drive for us from out here. And it's a place where you can easily spend 5 hours riding your bike and not see it all probably. Hey Alex, how's it going? Yeah, you were it 2 weeks ago. So that no bugs is amazing, especially this in the woods. Can't yeah, that's a cool place because they and so recently they built a. I think the campground has always been there, but they rebuilt like this. There's like a now there's like a little place like where there's indoor bathrooms and showers and stuff. But that is the way to go. Is definitely is because to do it in one day and out and back, it's tough. You don't get it. Definitely not going to see it all. A night ride in those woods would probably freak the heck out of me. I would, yeah, that would be kind of rough. That place, out in the woods, at night, it always kind of is always. I always feel like that's it doesn't matter what the trail is. It's like I'm on edge of what's all. Because everything comes out at night, basically. So hopefully, that was. I don't know how many total miles are out there. It's probably like 30 or 40 miles of single track. There's hiking miles and stuff out there too. There is, and there's I think there are two main mounds, but there's that I've ridden both those. But there's a third section I have never ridden. It's a little further out. Um, and it's like the mountains themselves. It's a fair amount of climb, so you're going to go up, and then there's like 5 or 6 different downhill trails you can take based on which one you want to try. But and then going back and forth is probably a fair amount of distance. But it's I have to take a look and see how many miles there actually are. If Alex, if you know, you can throw in the chat, or someone wants to look at it on Trail Forks and figure it out. But it's pretty cool. It's definitely you can. There are definitely people that go there and camp just to ride over the weekend and get 2 days of riding in, because it's one of those things where there is a couple different ways to go down and ride that thing down. Yeah, Lutzen. So is it? It's Jackpot, I think, in Lutzen, where it's like a 16-mile one-way trail that's from Lutzen to somewhere up there. I definitely want to do it, and that's another place I'd love. It's tricky to get. That was a tricky one to make happen, but that's another one that there's so much stuff up there. I've never done the 99er. I heard it's all like I heard a lot of 99er was like double track mud trails, and it wasn't that awesome. But yeah. So how much of Cuyuna is actually closed right now? I mean, you said Saginaw and the cruiser, but is there other sections of Cuyuna that's closed besides that? I have to look at a map. I actually don't know. I'm probably only gonna ride Yawkey and I don't know what it's called, the Mohammedan, the main one with those trails. But no, oh yeah, but yeah. I want. So what is the new north section? I don't know. Yeah, they're gonna build a lot of mileage out there at Cuyuna. I think I really like. If you guys haven't seen the video about the Iron Range and riding the range in their website, I think that's great marketing. I think that's a great idea. Um, Honestly, I think like I keep telling myself I should email Brian Kennedy and about this, but I'd love to do like a 4-day weekend in Giants Ridge, and I believe that Giants Ridge only runs Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But the thing about bike parks in Minnesota is apparently they don't start till noon. They don't open till noon. So you get up there and you go ride Redhead in the morning, or you get up there and you go ride Tioga in the morning, and then hit the park in the afternoon. And I think that's like a great way to spend a few a day up there or a weekend up there. It's like go ride, hop into Duluth, and go ride Duluth in the morning, get lunch, and then head back to Giants Ridge and ride the bike park for a couple hours, and then or go to Duluth and ride their spirits for a couple hours, and do that, and you know hit a couple different places. Because the other thing, they talked. So I hear there's new trails in, is it Cohasset? Like Pine Valley, I think has got a trail out there that it's near like Virginia. I think that's supposed to be really good. So I want to check that out. There's just more and more stuff that's going to get built out there. So definitely have a lot of stuff to go out and ride in that area. So JCL Shrey, what kind of riding do you do? So Duluth has got a little bit of everything, and it's just kind of like, what's your favorite type of riding for Duluth? If you're looking for like really techy stuff, like challenging like Black Diamond type riding, Piedmont and Brewer Park have some really good technical stuff. If you're looking for more of a flowier trail, a little bit more climbing, a little bit more like an Elm Creek type thing, I think Mission Creek, which is on the west side, uh, closer to the big ups, less super aggressive downs. Yeah, so I did. So the trails I would say is you could definitely check out Mission Creek. Mission Creek it's more climbing and more and a little bit less technical descending. But then also check out on the other side of town is Lester Park. And Lester Park has Hawks Ridge, and there's Amity East and Amity West, and there's also the Mississippi. No, it's not called Mississippi River Trail. It's called I don't know. There's a river trail there that's part of the Duluth Traverse. It's a nice ride up. But Lester Park is great. So if you like Lebanon, I bet you'll love Hawks Ridge. So I think you'll be happy there. The other thing I would say, if you're looking for just more, it's not really big climbs, but you could do probably a good time at Brewer Park. Brewer Park is in Piedmont, but it's a blue, it's a blue square trail, not Black Diamond. But you can you can do a lap that I like. Brewer Park, you can do two directions and figure out which one you like the most, and then you can hop on. What's it called? You can do the Duluth Traverse there as well. I think it's called Lollygager, and that's a green trail from the parking lot. And you can take Lollygager over to another green trail that will actually give you a pretty good climb up and a pretty fun green down. It's actually a pretty fun green down. I can't remember that trail off the top of my head. It's another river type trail, but Chris did a video of it back in the day. I can't remember what that trail was called, but it's a green flowy thing, and it'll take you closer into town, and it's got some good climbing there. That's a fun one too, and it's all connected to Lollygager and in Brewer Park, so that's kind of fun. And actually, like if you do want to hop into Piedmont and take a lap around Upper Burner and Lower Burner, you can kind of see there's some fun stuff there too. It's more, Piedmont and Brewer, there's not big climbs. It's more close to what we have here. Where you're going to go up and down. It's just a little bit more technical. It's a little bit more rock. You know, a lot of that stuff. A lot of those trails in Duluth are all bedrock. You know, they're you know, there's big old rocks you're climbing. You're just granite stuff like that. Yeah, Harry, the Lutsen 99er is a race held by uh, Lifetime Fitness. I didn't think they still. I'm assuming they still do it. It used to be a feeder for the Leadville 100. I think it's called Leadville 100. Yeah, no problem, JCL. Have a good time. Let me know what you liked. And Duluth is one of my favorite places to ride. Yeah, if I can, if I could spend my summers in Duluth, I would be thrilled. I mean, there's so much there to ride. It's so different. You know, even I have so like Hart Park is another place where I just haven't been out there yet, and I want to take I want to do the Spirit Mountain has that trail as a bike park, and there's some cool stuff at Spirit Mountain that also looks pretty aggressive. So I'm kind of curious to see. I was gonna buy a full face and go ride Spirit last year, and it never opened, so I never bought a full face. But yeah, Lutsen 99ers XC race that's like you've got a 30, a 50, I think, and a 99-mile race. You know, Giants Ridge. How is it for skiing? Is it how would you compare Giants Ridge for skiing? Because I ski and I am tempted to do that. I could bring up my fat bike and lift axis fat biking might work for that bike. That bike is so damn heavy. Lift axis might work really well, but I don't know. Yeah, see, that's what having a base camp. That's what I was thinking was Giants Ridge is a base camp for hitting that stuff. It's just it's it's definitely what I would do is on the way home I would hit Cuyuna because Cuyuna is so far from Giants Ridge. But like I think, or either that or like because I think Hibbing is like 30 miles, so you can do Redhead's like 30 minutes away, and then I think Tioga is like an hour away, around an hour away, I think, from Giants Ridge. And then you've got about an hour into Duluth. So I kind of feel like Giants Ridge as a base camp, and then hitting those other areas would work. If I could figure out if Giants Ridge had like decent Wi-Fi, I would seriously consider going up there for a week and just like figuring out if I can work from Giants Ridge, and then go ride in the evenings. Yeah, Harry, I knew you had that trip up to Cuyuna. I think you guys will have a great time up there. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you can do a lot of it in one day, but your legs are gonna hate you for it. I would actually do like start in the main parking lot one day and just ride that section, and then like in the afternoon come back and just go to like the Yawkey section, park there and ride that section, and then start bringing those into together and trying on those other trails. Those are the two big areas I like. The Super Bell. I've looked at the Super Bell. I gotta find a place that has a helmet that I can actually put on my face. And that's kind of my concern right now. It's like, is I I have a big head. I remember when I graduated from high school, they listed all of our the biggest caps sizes, and there was one guy who had a bigger cap size than me. So I have a big head. So it's kind of a one of those things. I think that helmet is probably like 250 is my guess. A lot of those full faces are in that range. So, but yeah, I've looked at that helmet, and I just need to find it in stores. I've liked the idea of being able to take off the chin guard and having two helmets, but honestly, I probably would just, you know, having two helmets is fine. Having one that's dedicated for that for downhill is probably better off than having one I can move the chin guard off. That's a good idea for the going out and doing the race series. I hate racing. I don't like actually racing. I could probably do enduro racing where you go one off at a time. I don't want. I don't. You know. I don't know. I don't like passing people. I don't want to be passed. I kind of I just I don't want to bump elbows with people on racing, and I don't like being behind people that are slow. It's but I think going out. That's one of the things with the challenge. Trying to go on and ride a lot of different places, and it's fun because you. And it's funny because you get to the point where you're like, oh, I haven't been to like Valley View in like 2 or 3 years. I wonder how much has changed. Like going to Hillside. I hadn't been to Hillside since fall of 2019, and a lot has changed. There's not much that's not better than Afton, to be honest with you. Yeah, I so Alex, I will tell you this is how I'll give you my ski story. As my wife grew up skiing and going out to Vale, and then she stopped skiing. And when our kids got old enough, we started getting them into lessons. We got them in Highland. I started taking our lessons at Highland. We eventually started go. We when we finally were kind of decent enough skiers, we started skiing all the different spots, and we found Welch Village. And we skied Welch Village for a couple of years, and really were members. Had a lot of fun out there. Then we found Big Sky, and it got to a point where we love Big Sky. Big Sky is great. And we went from like barely being able to do like 4 or 5 runs down the greens and not being just blown out for the day to the point of bombing down black diamonds and tree runs and all this crazy stuff in the mountains. And then you come here and you're like, so when can we go home? You know, it's kind of like you're going to sit around and you're going to sit in this chair. You're going to spend more time waiting to get in a chair than it takes you to get to the top of the ski run. Another 30 seconds going down the ski run, trying to avoid as many people that are, you know, barely know what they're doing as you go down and hoping not to get hurt. But yeah, we did Afton a couple times because I just it's you know it's different, but it's not it's not fun. I think we got to give you an idea like at Welch, like we would go and we would ski Bakiara and we'd ski Chicken, and I like Dave's Dive and I like Lookout, but like you just hit those and just going. All right, Sean. All right, see you. Yeah, we're gonna go for only a couple more minutes because I'm gonna finish my beer and then I'm gonna call it a good night. But I do ski. My entire family skis. Yeah, I bet that you know. That's the thing is like this is the hanging out in the parking lot. Yeah, no, that's I wish one thing I liked. I really one thing I can't stand about the Minnesota ski scene is people who come early and throw all their stuff on a table and just keep their stuff on that table for the entire day. And that just annoys the hell out of me because it's like I want to go in and have lunch and and then get the hell back out and go skiing. And trying to find a place to sit and just have a beer, have a eat a burger, and just relax for a second, and then like find a table. It's so annoying. But yeah, no, definitely if it's warm enough to be outside and just chill out and have a beer and relax. As is, and then you have a few of those, and then the skiing is a little bit more interesting too. But I don't know. let's see. So, all right. I am, we are at about an hour. Yeah, I am bitter about the bike. So I will say that I was not surprised, actually. Um, I think Welch Village had a ton of potential, but it had some guys that just weren't interested in having making that work. I don't totally get it because I think like you can't tell me they could, you can't tell me if they had run better hours, they could have had more people there and more people buying stuff. I mean, it just Welch Village was a lot of fun. I mean, for a bike park, you have some pretty cool runs. They finally built something that was fairly technical, and I never even got the chance to ride that damn thing. And there was some stuff there that I think I had gone there like 3 or 4 times like that last year, but it was so much like they didn't open till 11, and they only ran till like 5. And if it rained, they would close, and it just became so hit or miss when you could actually go there and ride your bike. But yeah, that was a bummer. But I had the VP of operations there, Peter Z. I can't remember his last name. I was out there for a ski lessons a few years back. And I talked to him about it. Like, hey, you should do mountain biking. And he was all about like, oh, no one's gonna want to pay to mountain bike at Welch Village. There's so much great free stuff to go ride. And I don't think he was interested. I don't know what they thought. Like, oh, they thought, oh, we should do this, and then they just gave up on it. But I don't know. I don't know about that big brain either. But a lot of space. Um, they ended up just not giving in and just you know unfortunately they threw in the towel. I don't know if people got hurt and they got sued, but I thought they were bringing in demo bikes. They never brought in demo bikes. They could have done so much stuff out there. There is like just from going out there and skiing, there's some pretty gnarly sections when you're going up those chairlifts and looking around left and right. You're like, oh, that's a pretty cool spot right there. You could go down on your mountain bike, but they never did it. So, all right. Um, I'm gonna call it. Any final thoughts? Shoot them in the comments below. But otherwise, go out, ride your bike, have a good one. Um, if you haven't watched the Hillside video, watch the Hillside video. Thanks again, Travis, for his super chat. Clearly, he's got an iPhone. But have a good one. Go out and ride something cool. There's lots of stuff out there to ride. I am looking forward to going out to Cuna and riding Draw Point. I will be there very, very early on Saturday morning. But thanks, Dan. I will. Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I plan on being in your neighborhood sometime in June. I'll figure it out. But thanks a lot. More beer. No, there are no beer bongs on the live stream. Just casual. I don't even know if you can read. Let's see if you can. Where's the camera? Yeah, see if you can read that. If you can see double black diamond. This is a wine glass, but it says experts only. But I drink beer out of it. But thanks for stopping by. I had a good time. Go out, ride your bike. Have a good one. I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Thanks, Joe.